once again, race fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour. I'm Alex Gray, as always, with Michael Klein. We have a lot to talk about for sure. First of all, Talladega, which I felt like was a racing fan's dream. Because, when you go to Daytona or Talladega, people always love to see a dark horse or underdog win. We went 3 for 3 last week at Talladega in terms of drivers getting their first career win. Obviously, Tate Fogelman, that absolute insane finish to the truck race. John Hunter Nemechek had grabbed the lead after they wrecked behind him and came down on Fogelman, turning Nemechek and giving Tate Fogelman the victory, and Tyler Hill finishing in second as well. And then in the Xfinity Series, of course, that race had to be cut just a little short because of the incoming darkness. It was getting darker outside because of night. Brandon Brown getting his first win. Of course, that meant the world to him and his family business at Brandon Built Motorsports. And then the Cup race, which was postponed to Monday, pretty much the icing on the cake. Bubba Wallace absolutely wheeling it in those closing laps. Before the end of Stage 2, there was a big wreck, and then the rain came. They were unable to get it going, and Bubba Wallace, with 2311 Racing, a team owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, becomes the second African-American driver since Wendell Scott in 1963 to win in the Cup Series, as well as McDonald's first win as a sponsor since 1994. So what a weekend at Talladega.
Yeah, truly a historic weekend that we witnessed this past weekend. Obviously, this is the first time we've had 3 different first-time winners at the same track in one weekend. And also just some of the feel-good stories surrounding that. I mean, I'm sure a lot of fans didn't even know the name Tate Fogelman before this weekend, and then he comes out of nowhere and wins that race. And then obviously with Brandon Brown, you could tell how much that meant to him and his family. And unfortunately, it does seem like it was shrouded in a bit of controversy with the post-race chants from the stands, which I just want to add, please lay off Kelly Stavis. She did absolutely nothing wrong there. How are you going to report something like that happening live on air? So leave her be. Leave NBC be over that. Obviously that's not something that should have happened. Yeah, obviously that shouldn't have happened. But unfortunately, some fans, they decided to do this. There's really no way of avoiding it. And then, of course, the next day with Bubba Wallace, absolutely historic victory for NASCAR and for Bubba. Hopefully this is the sort of momentum booster and confidence booster that they need to build off of for next season. I could see them being legitimate playoff contenders for next season. And, obviously, me knowing Bubba a little bit, it's awesome to see him have the success now. He's always been a great person to me. I've never experienced anything negative with the dude. Been a fan of his really since his K&N days. So seeing it all kind of come full circle, take the win at Talladega, which, is obviously where so much happened with him last year, and obviously kind of a home track to him, being from Mobile, Alabama. So just seeing him being able to do it under those circumstances is incredible. And I know there's going to be some people who say, yes, it was a rain-shortened win, so it doesn't count. I don't think any driver or anyone within the sport cares if it is a rain-shortened win. At the end of the day, you're racing to the rain, and Bubba was wheeling it as hard as I've ever seen him wheel a car. Exactly. It was textbook block after block, and he managed to be out in front when the heavens finally opened up. And I know a lot of people are going to get on NASCAR for calling it at that, but listen to every driver, everyone who was there. It was downpouring right after they called it. There was no way they were going to get that track ready. It takes 2.5 to 3 hours to drive the speedway, and with as much daylight as they had left, there was no way they were getting it in.
Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, I think personally 2311 is going to get better. They're going to be legitimate. I think they will be legitimate playoff contenders next year. You're adding Kurt Busch, former champion, a lot of veteran presence, and I think he and Bubba are going to work fantastic together. People were arguing about that, and remember, Talladega, 2.5-mile facility. It is a huge, huge, huge facility to dry off, and the track doesn't have the proper lighting to host a night event. So, yeah, I mean, I knew when they said, I think it was like 8 laps left in stage 2, they said the rain was coming before the stage was going to end. And they had already hit the official mark of the race, lap 94. And, yeah, as you point out, incredible racing by Bubba Wallace. He did what he had to do. And a win's a win. Look back, Chris Buescher, when he won at Pocono in 2016. Right place, right time, got the win, and put him in the playoffs. A win is a win. You take it.
Yeah, and, something else I'll also point out here is that when you look at some of these other first-time winners who got their win because of a rain-shortened race, like Buescher or Haley, not to take away from them, but pit strategy also played a huge role in that, And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. That's part of racing. And I'm not saying they didn't deserve it. But at the same time here, Bubba raced his way to the front and held them off. I mean, this was so much more on the driver than many other rain-shortened victories.
Absolutely. He did an incredible job, especially he had, 2 Penske cars, and Penske always a dual threat on the super speedways. He did his best to hold off Keselowski and Logano. So you got to tip your hat to that. His crew chief, Booty Barker, in 483 races that he's been a Cup crew chief, that was his first win, which that's also, there's just so many feel-good stories about Talladega. Like I said, it was a racing fan's dream weekend.
Right. And I think Justin Grant probably said it best. Rain-shortened race, bank don't care.
Yeah.
The prize money's the same. The trophy's the same. The points are the same.
Mm-hmm. Nobody really, nobody in the playoffs won, which makes things a lot more interesting going to the Roval this coming weekend at Charlotte. So, a lot's at stake.
Well, technically a playoff driver did win. Technically a playoff driver did win this past weekend. Denny Hamlin.
That's true, as an owner. Yeah, good point.
Yep.
So, of all the wins that, Denny has had, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt, he has a win as an owner now, which, that's got to be a great feeling. You're going in, you're racing for Joe Gibbs, and you also now have to handle running this team with Michael Jordan, and it's got to feel good that all that work since that announcement a year ago has paid off, that they have worked for this moment. You look back on Bubba especially, I remember when he was driving for Roush Fenway in the Xfinity Series about 4 or 5 years ago. 2017, he was like third in the points, and like close to halfway through the season, they had to shut his ride down because they didn't have enough sponsorship to continue racing. And then the opportunity opened up when Eric Almirola got injured at Kansas, ran some races, did pretty well. Second place in the 2018 Daytona 500, ran full-time for Richard Petty up until last year, and now I think green is for glory. All is good for Bubba Wallace at this point.
Yeah, certainly. Definitely a huge weekend for him, and I've seen so much support from him in the garage area. And, no matter what anybody says now, he is a Cup Series winner. No one can take that away.
Exactly. And you only get one first career win, so I'm pretty sure he's celebrating the best way possible. I think he even said after the race he went to a McDonald's, got like a 10-piece chicken nugget, some fries, and a Dr. Pepper, which I thought was a pretty awesome way of celebrating, of course, McDonald's and Dr. Pepper being a couple of his sponsors.
Yeah, kind of had to celebrate that way, too. I think that night at work, I had McDonald's DoorDash to me, so there's 2 of the sponsors right there.
So that wraps up Talladega. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see who's all going to advance to the next round. First for the Truck Series, round of 4, and then the Championship 4, I should say, and then a couple more rounds to go for Xfinity and Cup. So moving on, some sad news also happened this past weekend. Former NASCAR driver John Wes Townley passed away at the age of 31. Around the 6-year anniversary of his lone Truck Series win at Las Vegas, he passed away in a shooting. And look back on his career, and obviously just a huge loss in the racing community. I remember him very well. Just wanted to know what your thoughts were on John Wes Townley.
Obviously it's a tragic event, and especially when you learn the circumstances surrounding it. And this is unfortunately all too common that I hear of someone like this who suffered multiple head injuries throughout their career and eventually sort of leads to this massive deterioration just in their lives. And it obviously seems like this is probably what happened, because I understand the woman involved in the situation was his ex-wife. And he clearly seemed to have some issues, which may or may not have stemmed from that. I'm not sure. I'm not going to, confirm it. Obviously nothing. I don't want to confirm anything that hasn't already been confirmed. So
right.
Obviously right now it's just a completely tragic situation, and I do want to send my thoughts and prayers to the family of John Wes Townley. I can't imagine how hard this must be for them.
Yeah, same here. Obviously, offer my thoughts and prayers to John Wes Townley's family. And as you said, we can't really confirm anything else besides what's been given to us. But obviously a huge tragic loss. He was only 31, still had his whole life ahead of him. And it's just heartbreaking to see. But moving on with that, we're heading towards the Roval. There will be a big test session for the next-gen car, I believe, next week. A couple things I want to bring up there. Ty Dillon, who was running with Germain Racing, that team shut down at the end of last year, had some opportunities early in the season to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing, driven a couple times with Our Motorsports. A lot of rumors indicate that he is a top candidate to take the GMS Cup ride. Of course, GMS Racing is planning to go to the Cup Series. Their intent is to run full-time, and according to Bob Pockris, they are close to obtaining a charter. So, again, we'll have to see where that charter comes from. Ty Dillon will test that car next week at the Roval. So, obviously, if he gets this ride, which is starting to look like that might be the case, this would be a good deal for him to help out this new team and give him another chance to run in the Cup circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. Ty Dillon's a wheelman. Every time I've interacted with him, he's been nothing but one of the nicest guys in the garage area. So seeing him get this opportunity would be great. Yeah,
I think it'd be a great opportunity for him. And again, so many new teams coming in, and they're going to want drivers. So I think GMS is going to pick up a wheelman in Ty Dillon. And then the other part that was interesting, Roush Fenway Racing had a little bit of fun yesterday. That was October 6th. This is recorded on October 7th. They had fun yesterday on social media. They posted a fifth third paint scheme on the next-gen Ford of Chris Buescher with the new number placement, which, of course, had people talking again on Twitter because social media. But there was a side picture, and they actually edited in very faded. But if you zoomed in, it said, this is a test car, not a paint scheme reveal. So, obviously, not the final product, but, I don't know I'm pretty sure you saw it. And what were your thoughts on, what the number looked like? Because it was pretty close to the front wheel of the car.
You know my stance on this. You know my stance on it. The way I see it, number goes on the door. It goes right there on the door.
Yeah, it just looks weird. Like, it's just, I'm looking at it. The Cup Series logo on the side, though, is placed really weird, too. And, again, it's not a final product, but hopefully, if you're going to do this, I hope they do it right. That's all I can say there. But
yeah, obviously this isn't something that I'm going to say is going to turn me away from NASCAR like so many people are saying. At the end of the day, it is just a number placement. So it's not something that's going to be a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, they're just trying different things at this point, with the new car. And it was funny because Roush Fenway on social media then began having a field day by making all these funny edits with that same picture of the side shot of the Buescher car, with putting the numbers on the wheels and making it smaller on the side. It was absolutely hilarious. So, yeah, there's the number placement talk there. Other news, because we talked about him last week with his situation, but it has been confirmed that Michael Annett, 35-year-old, will retire at the end of the season. He will step away from full-time racing in the Xfinity circuit, which really sucks to see. Because obviously he's had that stress fracture in his leg. But, we talked about the possibility of him retiring. So that probably indicates that JRM will be a four-car team next year. But the big question now is, does Pilot, Flying J, or TMC decide to, stick with Junior Motorsports in some way and maybe help sponsor Josh Berry? It's hard to say.
Yeah, obviously we can't, make that assumption now. That's always been a company that's gone solely with Michael Annett. I don't believe.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, no, I do remember them back in the 90s having sponsored a few drivers. But,
yeah.
I would be a little bit surprised if they came back. It would be nice if they did, especially for Josh Berry, because I understand he's probably going to need some funding there. And I also wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a fifth part-time car, obviously for some of the development drivers and for Junior's one-off race, which from what I understand he is coming back for that. So obviously I think that's probably going to be another part-time car there, unless they do like an alliance with BJ McLeod like they did with Mayer at Richmond.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah, they could possibly do that. And looking back on Annett's career, obviously he had one Xfinity Series win. He won the season opener Daytona back in 2018, I believe it was.
I think it was 19.
19? Okay. So I was a year off. But still, even if you have one win in your career, Annett was always a solid driver, had the opportunity to run the Cup Series for a little bit with Tommy Baldwin and H. Scott Motorsports. And with Annett, if you're going to get one win, it's at Daytona, hey, it's forever on the records. You won at Daytona. So,
yep.
So obviously it's a bummer to see, but big congratulations to Michael Annett on his career and wishing him nothing but the best of success on his future endeavors.
Yep. Yeah, just something interesting I want to go back to about Bubba Wallace, because I'm actually watching Racing Roots right now. They're doing a special on Bubba on NBCSN. They actually just pointed out Bubba is actually the first NASCAR Cup driver to get to celebrate in Victory Lane. If we remember the infamous story with Wendell Scott when he got his win, obviously he didn't get to celebrate that in Victory Lane.
Yeah, they took that trophy away from him, right?
No, they didn't even give it to him. They gave it to Buck Baker, and it was never returned.
Yeah, it's I completely forgot about that. Yeah, Bubba is indeed the first African American driver to celebrate in Victory Lane, and I think it's, again, as we said before, it's big for the sport, and it's great to see people like Bubba, thrive, and I hope to see, maybe a win will come soon out of Daniel Suarez at Trackhouse, or maybe even Haley Deegan in the Truck Series. It's good for the sport because it just helps show that NASCAR's because I talked about in the past, when everything happened last year, that, NASCAR's for everyone. Anyone can watch NASCAR. Anyone can enjoy it. The problem is that NASCAR has been plagued with that awful stereotype of, NASCAR being full of a bunch of crazy right-wing, conservative, blue-collar, crazy Southern, Confederate, whatever you want to say. But the truth is, NASCAR is for anyone. Anybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, and obviously that's something that, if you ask me, is kind of self-inflicted. Unfortunately, that was the case for a while, but now NASCAR's trying to move away from that and be welcoming to all. And I think at this point we can say that it is for everyone. And unfortunately, yes, there is still going to be some backlash. There still are going to be those stragglers, and obviously we saw that, before the Xfinity race on Saturday and after the Xfinity race on Saturday. So unfortunately, that's something that's going to be really hard to kick. But having Darrell, I'm sorry, I'm still calling him Darrell, Bubba Wallace getting to Victory Lane, that's obviously a huge step forward with that.
Yeah, huge step forward, as mentioned before. So let's see. We talked about Annett. What I want to bring up here on my notes. So a sports car driver named Joey Hand is going to make his Cup debut this weekend with Rick Ware. If I'm correct, I heard the car will be supplied by Stuart Haas, but it's a Rick Ware car. Joey Hand, a very successful sports car driver. I think it's kind of similar when I think Tony had Cole Custer in a Rick Ware car a few times in like 2018 or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, it's basically going to be a Stuart Haas car fielded by Rick Ware. It's just kind of a way to skirt around the whole 4-car limit.
Yeah. So I'm really interested to see how Joey Hand will do stepping into a stock car and see if he can take on the stars of NASCAR and maybe make some noise. Because he certainly could, and you never know. Speaking of Tony Stewart, Tony Donahue posted this rumor that Tony Stewart has interest with Ford backing to field Marco Andretti in select Xfinity races in 2022. That is just a rumor, so we can't assume or confirm anything. But if this were to happen, I mean, we saw him performing the SRX. I think Marco Andretti can wheel a stock car for sure. So I'd love to see him. Yeah,
it obviously wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't surprise me. Yeah. Just since he retired from full-time IndyCar racing, he's been trying to do whatever he can, behind the wheel, trying to diversify that skill set. And obviously NASCAR is one of the few things he hasn't done yet. So I definitely see this as a possibility to get that kind of in his wheelhouse there. Maybe see him run some road course races or even some ovals.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Especially with the expansion of the road courses on our schedules now, and obviously, as you mentioned before, maybe at some point we might see, if this were to happen, we could see maybe Marco Andretti try the Daytona 500 or the Coke 600 or really any oval race. So I would be thrilled to see Marco in a stock car. I would love to see it.
Yep.
So moving on to the IndyCar side of things, I believe Roman Grosjean and Jimmy Johnson got to take their first laps on the Indianapolis Oval. Pretty confident that we will see both of them attempt the Indy 500 in 2022. Things went pretty well for both of them.
Yeah, from what I understand, I think Jimmy's still kind of on the fence about it, but Roman, I know, is confirmed to do the full season for Andretti. So obviously that would throw that into the plans too. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Grosjean next year with Andretti. I think he could get a win. Honestly, he's looked pretty decent.
Oh, he will.
He's looked pretty good. Yeah. He was pretty good in his oval debut at Gateway. So I'm really looking forward to that in the next IndyCar season, and of course what Jimmy Johnson can do, and hopefully he has learned a lot from his rookie season, which sounds weird to say rookie season, but. I'm really looking forward to it. Next year in IndyCar is going to be really interesting. And besides that, I think that is about everything that I had covered in my notes. But we haven't done this in a while. Let's make some picks for the Charlotte Roval. Xfinity and Cup, who are we liking here?
So, Cup side. Obviously, he's won the past 2 years here, so it's kind of hard to go against him. I'm going to go with Chase Elliott.
Okay. I think the two big names to really throw out there, as you mentioned, Chase Elliott. I have to throw in Kyle Larson because, he had a bad day at Talladega, but he also won on a couple road courses this year, and I think I can see him and Chase Elliott duking it out on there. Don't count out, I know I'm on the Hendrick train here, but don't count out William Byron either. I know he's in a tough spot right now, but he's ran there decently, and I think he could surprise some people for sure. And, of course, Ryan Blaney being the other Roval winner, he won there in 2018. So, anything can happen. I expect it to be a crazy race. It is an elimination race for the round of 12, so who knows? And then looking at the Xfinity side, obviously you got to talk about Austin Cindric. He's proven that he's pretty good on road courses. AJ Allmendinger, you got to throw his name in too. I think those are the two heavy favorites. Because he won at the Daytona road course, I'll throw in Ty Gibbs as well. I think he could surprise some people again.
Yeah, and he also won Charlotte. So.
Yeah, he won at Charlotte earlier this year on the Oval. Let me check to see what.
I think that's going to be my pick.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. Let's see here. Notable Xfinity entries, Preston Pardis, Stefan Parsons, Loris Hesmans, if I pronounce that right, the NASCAR Euro Whelen driver, driving the 66, Will Rogers, Sage Karam is back in the 31 for Jordan Anderson.
Yep.
Who else am I missing? Yep, I think that's about it there. That's the lineup there for Xfinity. So those are our picks, and if you're watching this on YouTube later, comment down below who you think will win the Roval race. So that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here unless we have any last-second breaking news, except I forgot to mention they're going to do something really cool because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month for October. The cars are going to run pink window nets. I think that's pretty cool, running a hot pink window net. I like that. I really like that. All right, so that'll about do it for this edition of the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour once again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and big weekend coming up for the Roval. Again, check me and Michael out on Twitter, as well as special thanks again to Jetman999 for making our new logo that debuted in our last episode. And
also, just want to add, we will be in Charlotte this weekend for the Roval, and at Millbridge Saturday night, possibly Hickory tomorrow night. So if you guys see us there, feel free to stop by and say hi.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to say hi to people, and this will be the second time I've ever been to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Last time I went there, the 2006 Coca-Cola 600 when I was a youngin'. Casey King won that race, and Cars was getting ready to come out. That's how long ago that was. So I can't wait to be back there. I'm really excited for that. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.